Hello, I'm BJ from Hearns Hobbies, and I'm going to be having a closer look at, what's this? It is the new Tamiya walking and swimming duck. And you say, what? It almost sounds like a Monty Python skit, doesn't it? From, where was it from? Weighing the same as a duck. So that would have been out of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So here we go. We have Tamiya, walking and swimming duck, which is amazing because it does both. But this is from their education building construction range, which isn't quite often available outside of Japan. It is around the place, but quite often even in Australia, we've never had the full range before. And this is quite a special one. And it was quite ingenious when we first saw them. And we thought we had to have them. So we have the duck's head, has a very good likeness of a duck. It's got little flappy feet, and then it also floats too. So let's see how they've come about designing this as an educational type kit. And you can see there, they've got a picture of the classic submarine motor, which has been in their kits for a very, very long time. Have a quick look on the side here. It shows a diagram of the duck actually, well, walking on land and then going straight into the water. So there's nothing to actually modify if you want to use it on the land or the water. It's ready to go on both after you finish building it. And it's also got the moving head. So the head moves back and forth as it walks, which is quite cute, I think. And over here, they indicate that you can change the direction, and I'll show you how it does that in a moment. And it does need one battery to get it going, which is a AAA, which is what we know them as here. Other parts of the world would be an RO3 or a UM4, which is the smaller of the sort of batteries, the thinner standard, I guess. So there we go. Let's have a look inside. What do we get? All right, we've got our box of bits. We've got the sheet of foam. Okay, so it's going to act as flotation. It's also been die cut already. So how about we get right into it? Oh, what's that? Let's get rid of that. All right, here's our die cut foam. If I hold on at angles like this, you'll be able to see. You've got a tail section, which is here. And then I think we've got a central flotation part. And then we've got the feet, which also act as the wheels. And it's quite thick. It's probably about 10 mil. A bit more foam there. But yeah, it's a bit hard to see unless I sort of crack it open like this. Okay, so there's 4 components, so you just need to pop out. All right, next is the biggest sprue, which will be in this bag. All right, so we've got the body and the head being separate. All right, there's your head bits, and then you've got your body bits. So compared to a plastic model kit, right, this is quite flexible. Now it should tell me what sort of plastic it is here somewhere. It's probably a polypropylene, I'm guessing. No, it's polyethylene. It's got a PE mark just there. You've got the 2 sections for the body. You've got this, I guess you call this a, I don't know, what do you call that? That's a control surface for making the neck move. Other side of the neck goes here, and then the head will attach to that. And then we've got these various parts here, which are for the mechanism. That'll be a bulkhead for inside of the bodywork, or the chassis, I guess you call it. Let's go in a bit tighter, and we'll see what these bits are all about. Let me see if I get a bit hard to focus on white. There we go. All right, so there's your body components, big and chunky. You've got locating points on the inside. And you can see how it is a quite thick plastic compared to a scale model. And you can see the flexibility in here. So it's going to be really tough. Throw it around a bit, I guess. You can see there where it's indicating it's polyethylene. Okay, you got your neck components here. Okay, the control for making it reciprocate. So the center bulkhead or chassis where you got, these will be the axles. Other side of the neck, other chunky bit, and then you've got these little holding in bulkheads there. And then we've got the head. The head comes in halves. And there's stickers included which will cover up the beak and for the eyes. But if you really want to get into it, you could probably paint it. And bear in mind, this is a flexible plastic, so you'll need their polypropylene or their PE primer, which is a clear primer. You'll find that in a spray can. And see how it just presses together like that. So these will press together, I'd say. All the construction kits usually do, and you won't need any glue there. Okay, so that is the main bits. All right, we've got some mechanical parts here in a grey plastic, and that's polypropylene. Okay, so it's got a sort of nylon-y feel to it, very smooth, probably self-lubricating like a nylon. And you got the drive mechanism here. So there'll be a, I don't know what's included there. The instructions will show us. This is probably for the wheel, because it looks like a caster. So that'll adjust the direction of it when it's on the ground. These parts I'm not too sure. They're probably supports for the actual motor unit. I think that's for the reciprocating neck. So that the submarine motor plugs in here, you have the battery there, and then this will be moving back and forth driving a gear. Okay, so they're mechanical bits. And then we've got this bag of lots of little bits. Okay, so we've got a little motor, submarine parts. I think we'll spread this out and we'll go in tight. All right, let's have a look at this one. Let's focus on this. All right, what do we have here? We've got a bag with a spring, an O-ring. So O-ring would be used around this section, which will hold in the battery, and that's to make it waterproof when it's swimming. And then these die-cut parts, you can see they look a bit like flippers. These are to replicate the feet. So these will attach to the foam wheels, and they look like they're flapping as it's rotating around. Got some O-rings. And then this spring here, I would suggest, is the tension for the battery. Okay, and then over here we've got the little motor. So this is a, I can't really read that. What does that say? Well, we'll see it in post-production. My eyes aren't good enough to see that, but hopefully that has picked it up. There's a little tiny motor. And then we have a bag of screws and an axle. So that'll be the drive axle, I would think, of moving bits. Very classical Tamiya looking screws, big round heads. Bag of gears. So you probably won't use all of them, because there'll be options there, because it is a generic motor unit. And these are POM. What material is POM? Must be a special material they've chosen for the gears, but they're nicely molded. Then we have a bag here of the submarine parts. So all these parts are all parts of the submarine motor. So normally the battery would be living in this compartment here. Got the O-ring across here, so when it's all screwed together, it'll be waterproof. You can see these sections with arms. So this would be for rudder. And normally a propeller would go in there. And you can see here how a propeller is included for the standard stuff, and also a little rudder. Because normally you would have this like this. So this part is the front, and normally this will be propulsion pushing this way. But in the duck, it's actually reversed, because the gear is going to go on here, and it's going to drive the duck's head. Let's see, let's get my hands right. Duck's head like this, and the head will move this way. So clever how they've incorporated this so they can get a waterproof structure in there without your batteries getting damaged. Okay, so you can see the little battery holder right here. That's for the AAA. Okay, so there's all, let's keep those all together. And then from there we've got little stickers. So these are self-adhesive, you can see that's all for the beak, the yellow, and then you've got little eyes there. They're all pre-cut to make it easy. And then we have our manual, walking and swimming duck. All right, let's bring that out to have a closer look. Now you can see the standard orientation or layout of the manual. Very Tamiya. You got your little warnings. We've got recommended tools, the battery you need, and then little tips on how to get all the bits off and how it all goes together. And it all sort of folds out like this. All right, so we start off, actually I might zoom in because it is pretty small there. How's that? That's probably better, isn't it? All right, so here's step one. Step one is get all your gears and orientate them correctly. And These ones here, those 3 are not used. Okay, so we go into the gearbox. You just need to follow all these steps and use the correct gears. And you can see they're quite specific shapes, so it'll be quite easy to get them right. And they have to fit within that gearbox housing in the correct way. Like so. And then we go on to step 3, which is building the battery case. So you've got this long connection here, the battery connection, there's a little spring for the other end to tension it. So there's a little trick on how you actually pop that in there. Step 4, attaching the motor. Okay, so bear in mind there's an orientation, there's a little hole, and you got this little mark here, which means to apply the grease. Okay, so that's going to help with, it's not for lubrication really, it's mainly for waterproofing, because there's a grease there and an O-ring goes across the top of that. And then you see how that's all clipped together to the battery holder. It's slightly out of focus, isn't it? Let's get that back there. How's that? And then you end up with a bit more grease across here, just to make sure you get no water getting into the gearbox at all. And that all snaps together. Hence, snap. Or, as it says in Japanese, paching, which is a sound word. Sounds like snap, I guess. And here we go. So this is the important part with that big O-ring going onto the submarine motor here. So that is, you have to put that in the correct spot so it fully seals and doesn't allow any water in. Okay, so once you do that, that's where your module with the motor and the battery holder goes paching into that part there. And then you see here, this is the area where I was talking about. Usually the submarine motor would take a propeller at this point, but a gear is going there instead. And so bear in mind, you need to check these warnings. So there needs to be clearance. So you don't want to push this all the way up to the face. You need to have a little bit of play there. And then once you do that, part 7, you pop in the battery. So that's your AAA or your UM4. Make sure you got the positive and negative the right way around, because otherwise it's going to spin the wrong way around. And then you screw it up. And it's interesting that the on-off switch is just rotating the back. So you screw all the way this way to switch it on, and you screw it back this way to switch it off. So there's no actual external switch at all. Okay, and then we've got this part here. So you've got submarine motor getting clicked onto the gearbox housing. And then we get into that die-cast foam, which I talked about before. So there's your wheels, or your little flippers going there too. And then you've got a little float here, which I think is for the center, and then you've got the tail float. So here we go, making the flippers. So flippers go into some of those parts I saw earlier, which I thought were housings. You got your foam wheel, and then sealed on the other end with the opposing side. And then we get this part, which is step 11, which is up here. And then you do the same thing for the right side. And then we have those going on. So just have to make sure that you orientate them to be 180 degrees from each other. Okay, so make sure it's like this. And then to make sure you have the right polarity, like the battery's in the right way, when you switch it on, it has to be rotating in this clockwise fashion. Okay, so that's step 12. Still a few more steps to go here. We've got step 13. So you've got to build the head. Okay, so you can see those neck bits there. Oh, there's a flotation bit there with the central bulkhead. Okay, so that's in the main body. It'll keep the head above water, I'd say. And then you've got the head connecting onto the neck. And then all that sub-assembly fits here. So you can see this section. This is how it does the head nodding back and forth. It's slotted into the cam, into the wheel. That all gets screwed into place. And then you have 15, which is attaching the roller. So the roller is the little caster that's mounted at the back. So the caster only helps it steer. So basically if you put it on an angle, we just keep on going in a circle, and by changing the angle, depends on how big that circle is going to be. If you leave it straight, the duck's just going to drive straight and run away from you. Okay, so that's it there. So you can see how it can rotate. So you make sure you don't over tighten this screw so it can rotate. And that just pops into the back section there. So from there we get into the body work, which is basically sealing it all up. So you've got the flotation tail, which is on that big bit of foam before, and either side of the body holding it together. Part 17, the stickers. So that's pretty self-explanatory. You've got multiple pieces for doing the beak, which is yellow, and then the eyes. And then this is how it works. Okay, you can use it on land or in water, or use it on both. Just drive it from land into the water, or vice versa. So talking about how it actually operates, so over here, this is the land version. Okay, so to change it to turn left, you move the caster to one side, go straight ahead, straighten up the caster, and then to turn right, turn the caster all the way to the other side. Well, there's in between as well. And then on the water, if you wanted to turn left, you angle the tail this way, go straight, it's a level tail, and then bend it the other way to turn right. And then from there, we've finished the assembly. We've got a list of spare, or what the parts are, so you know where to find them and what they look like. Again, it shows you which gears are not used. And that's it. So that is my open boxing of the walking and swimming duck from Tamiya. So if you'd like to see more content like this, please visit the channel. Think about subscribing, because we have new videos coming out all the time. And I thank you for joining me. So thank you for watching.